probably will not be able to join us today. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll call the meeting to order at 6:32. Okay. Again, apologies. I only about an hour ago did I send out the meeting minutes. I don't know if anybody had a chance to review them from our August meeting.
Yeah, I just scanned them. I didn't have any feedback.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to read them. It was like 40 minutes ago, and I was at a meeting. So
okay. Joe, would you propose we go ahead and approve, or do you want to wait till next month to approve?
Or let's skim
I'm
them.
pretty sure.
I think we're good.
I'm pretty sure there's grammatical mistakes, as I always make, but the gist of what.
Yeah, no, I didn't. I think it captured the essence of what we talked about.
Okay, great. I move that we approve the meeting minutes of our August 20th meeting as is. And Orla second. Okay, Orla second. Let's go ahead and vote. Joe.
Aye.
Orla.
Aye.
Angela.
Aye.
Likewise, aye. Thank you.
Do we have the ability to use the Zoom AI companion, Matt, where it will automatically transcribe for us?
That is a discussion. Great segue.
I was going to say, how many bullet points down was that?
So,
is that on the agenda? Okay. Cool.
It's basically talking about technology, and I think it is something actually brought up in the last several weeks in discussion. So I think Orla, you are on the email thread, and do you want to provide an overview of the discussion that's happening and your current thoughts, Orla?
I sure can. Yes, I just saw that last night. So I guess and I don't remember who had brought it up.
It was Al Hamilton on the select board.
On the select board, yes, perfect, thank you. Asking that exact question, Angela, in terms of can we use AI capabilities to take meeting minutes, etc., which obviously would help with administrative burden across a number of departments, not just for these type of meetings, but I assume internally as well. And our town clerk had said that he has reached out to a number of other towns to see if they're using it and is pending any feedback. And I think he'd also reached out to, was it the state attorney's office?
Yeah, Jim Hegarty had reached out to the state attorney's office to ask about it.
To see if there was any guidance. And then I had just mentioned that as it happens, I'm on a panel on Thursday with the CIO of the city of Boston on the topic of AI. And he had shared just some of his bio in advance, and he's been very much involved, I guess, in some of the legislation around AI for government. So I thought I could pick his brain when I see him on Thursday to see if there's anything. He also has been involved in something around smart cities, which caught my eye. So I'm hoping I can get some time with him on Thursday outside the panel and just see what we can learn and if there are any other resources that he would recommend for us to get guidance on.
Sounds good.
That's exciting. Yeah. So what we have it's wonderful to have you have such connections.
It was good timing. Good timing.
Yeah, perfect timing. Yeah. I've commonly thought of that. Like, even if I haven't played with Zoom, I know Teams has it, Zoom has it. I've commonly thought of just taking the video file from YouTube, extracting the audio, and just feeding it to a speech to text, and then feeding that to an AI engine to summarize it, which I think would do a great job. But I think that's exactly what Zoom does. It just does speech to text, and then it just summarizes what's done. Joe, comment?
Yeah, and I think it helps right now. I've noticed because I use it, the Teams version. You definitely do have to go back and edit. It doesn't get it all accurate, but it does save a lot of time just to have to quickly make corrections as opposed to keeping the date live.
I was just going to say I'm very familiar with a different company's product that does the same, and it's depending on the content of the meeting, it can be a trade-off of like how much time do you want to spend editing, especially if there's a lot of jargon versus just taking notes. So it depends on the content of what's happening.
Yes, I have noticed now some people actually make a call out in the meeting, say, Copilot, please make a note of X, or please capture an action of Y, and that's helped. So yeah.
My concern, I have one concern with it is just getting the right tool. I don't even say the right, but like a reputable tool for AI to do the job. Because my biggest concern is the amount of stuff that I have been reading, which pertains to leaks and intrusions and getting into people's networks and doing things that are malicious. So my thing is if we can find the proper tool to do the job that's reputable, that's not out there causing any ruckus, I would love to do that, because I've also been reached out by other committee members as well for a tool, and I'm like, I really don't mess with it enough to say, oh yeah, this is the one, or this is the good one, this is a reputable one. I also haven't taken the time to research it enough to know that answer. So anything that you get out of this, Orla, I would really like to know as well, just so I can kind of relay it back to some of the other committees as well.
Perfect. And I think, Jay, also what you're hitting on is the tool is one piece, but then putting in place a governance policy or like a use policy is also the other critical piece. And then just getting everyone to, read that, abide by it, etc. Which is something happy to work with you on.
Joe, you have another comment?
Yeah, just to follow up what Jay was saying, specifically how all of these tools work from there would definitely need to be, presuming legal and other issues are not in the way, it would definitely need to be some concerns raised regarding anything that has an executive session for a particular committee or what have you, to ensure that things are disabled. Because yay, open meeting law, all of our other things, it's perfectly fine to publish and push out, but those particular types of sessions would need to be exempt.
Yeah. So the two concerns you outlined, Jay, or to add to what Joe is saying, are one about information leakage, like what information are you leaking to the AI model, which it then might deliver to to other entities that are querying it and prompting it. And then the second is exploits for manipulation. Basically, can the tools, are there safeguards within the tool to prevent one prompt from influencing or micro-training it, interfering with another user? And those are definite legitimate concerns. I think certainly for the open meetings, as Joe mentioned, everything outside of the executive session, I don't think there's too much concern about, there's not concern about disclosure. In fact, we want it to be open, we want it to be public, but fully agree with Joe that at least without proper safeguards, it should never be used for executive sessions. And then we need to make sure we have reviewed technology and approved technology for use even within the public meeting, so that there's we don't have the manipulation concerns. I've in my studies and testing of AI, I think the large entities do a fairly good job at putting safeguards on their models. The Microsofts, the Googles, the world. They basically baked, the Copilot as well as Bard, Gemini, etc. from Google to prevent in their cases, both leakage of information as well as manipulation of the models. So
it is called artificial intelligence. So that's the part. Is it learning?
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, Orla, for your work on that, and looking forward to. I'll just put a note that for our next agenda, for our next meeting, we'd love to hear and learn from what you're able to learn in your discussions on that. All right. Yeah, skipping. That was down in the agenda. It was an agenda item called AI-based note taking. We'll skip back up on to tech town status updates on technology and feedback. I'll once again neglected to log into our Survey Monkey to find out if there's any suggestions, recommendations, feedback over the last few weeks since our last meeting. Logging in now, so pull that up.
Were you asking?
No, I'm looking
He's
here.
just
Okay.
pulling
Okay.
up to see if it shared.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
So on the last time we met was the 20th. Yeah, the 20th. So we got that one. Okay. So we have one piece of feedback. 5-star. No problem to report. 5-star on the seniors website. Seniors web pop-up. So fairly useless. But well, somebody enjoyed. What is it? Glad to report, like the seniors website over the past month.
Yeah. And I shared my feedback separately. I didn't go through the starring. But it was late last night, Jay, so you may not even had a time. And it was like silly things as I was just navigating around, like I'd find a broken link or it didn't quite take me to where I should have went, which I would imagine are fairly small fixes. And then I did see your email about the citizen request piece. So got it. So even though it says create new request, you can't actually create a new
No, you can't. So it's associated to, it's more of it's, as I was saying in the email, it's more of an internal, like if someone wanted to reach out to the Department of Public Works or to the town clerk, then they could put in a request in that sense. And so when it was not working and they kept on looping, is because there's no form for you to create that, because we never created any forms associated to that. So it's not necessarily something that you're reporting to Civic Plus about an issue. It's you're reporting to us about an issue. So I wasn't even aware of that. So a feature that we could probably use in some way or form in a different avenue. But yeah, it's not exactly.
Because I guess right now it suggests, like, because you click on the how do I, and then it's report a concern, and then it takes you to a place to log in and all of that good stuff.
Yeah.
So I guess, but then you hit the dead end. So 2 questions. One is, do we want people to be able to report a concern online? Yes, is question 1. And then question, if the answer is yes, if the answer is no, then either way we should take that down. Because the experience now is just puts you on a path to nowhere. Or if we do, then I guess we can have a separate conversation as to what's the best way to do that.
Yeah.
So let me interject for at least technology concerns. I had agreed with Jay that I think that's one of the values and things we can assist Jay with is collecting feedback on technology. We can effectively act as a second level of review, or basically a level of review before we pass them on to Jay. So when somebody says, I've got a lot of major problem, rather than emailing Jay directly, they can submit them to the, submit feedback link that's on the bottom of our website, which goes to the Survey Monkey. Then we can review them in our meetings, and I can review them offline or validate that it is a concern or not a concern, and then we'll pass them on to Jay and take them up his time.
Perfect.
If it's valid. That's technology related. It's not a necessarily it's all basically our websites and technology, etc. It doesn't necessarily apply to the other things that I think still an open question of how do citizens provide feedback to non-technology related things to various different departments, which I think is an open discussion, like the whole discussion of how do I report a pothole? Well, should we enable something in Civic Plus, or should we get the Civic Plus add-on module? And I think that's more of a discussion for those respective department heads, how they would like to see it, and more of a separate discussion than this.
So in this example, the way I interpreted the website is that it was intended for all departments to have an intake. Like that's how it comes across right now. Was that the intent?
I'm guessing that that's just stock Civic Plus. Like it has the capability if you build it, if you configure it, that it could become, and maybe Civic Plus have some sort of work. Each intake has a workflow behind it.
Is our website hosted on Civic Plus?
Yeah, the main website.
Okay, so that top bar could be generic to all towns using Civic Plus, and that's why we have a how do I?
Yeah. A lot of the stuff there was kind of like the base model in a sense. Like here's what you do. And then we tweak those things. Like I said, I was not aware of that report of concern in the sense of clicking on it going forward. Without submitting a ticket to them and saying, hey, what is this report of concern? If it's not getting to you guys, where is it going? And then finding out it was something that we needed to create, which is a citizens request tracker. And then we have to create a form and all of that. So I don't know as to what Matt was saying. It'd probably be best for anybody who does have a concern with the website itself to kind of go to where you have now, where you just share the feedback, and maybe I remove that report of concern and kind of put that there instead as another placeholder.
If we wanted to be about the website specifically, I agree. That's probably not the best place for it, because again, when I saw that, I thought about it being more, I have a pothole or I need
and I think that's probably where it was kind of going, was like report a concern, like if there's a concern in your neighborhood or a concern in your house or something like that the city would take care of or town would take care of. That's what I think now.
So then it's back to that same dialogue that we've had around. What is the tech enablement of that process?
Which to me sort of comes down, that should be first and foremost, like working with the respective departments and identifying how would they like the citizens impact. And I think we, as technologists and part of the MDC, we have the opportunity to work with them and suggest various options. And as also as citizens saying, we would like this, we think it's important to have citizen engagement. So we can nudge, suggest, etc. And if we conclude that Civic Plus for particular departments, the Civic Plus form itself is what we want to do, then we can work with Jay and possibly building it out for that department. But I do agree that if it's not working today, then we probably should pull it off. We should disable it and then actively work on the behind the scenes of putting whatever process in place for the respective departments.
Perfect, which then sounds like it could be a combination of, I did send out the spreadsheet that we could capture the current means of intake, I guess, and then we can talk with our respective departments that we paired up with to validate that, see what online digital capabilities they'd like. And I guess this is where then also it'll be interesting to see what feedback or input we get on Heritage Day.
Yes. So speaking of which, do you want to share, do you have that doc up, Orla, the inventory?
I do not have it up, but I can get it up very quickly.
Love to have you. Thanks for putting that together, and share that.
Citizen intake request, here we go. Let's see if I can share on Zoom.
Hold on.
Share. Send a request. All right, so can we see this?
Yes.
Yep.
So nothing fancy. I just started to kind of capture based on our conversation the last time, a few key columns. One, which department are we talking about? And I just started to populate this. What are some of the use cases? And again, this was driven more from what I saw on the website, where there is a way to report on certain items or request items like the transfer station sticker. Then I kind of navigated through to see if I could find, well, can I do this online, or what direction is provided? So for example, if you want to request or put something in around road maintenance, basically your advice to fill in a form, I think, and email it or phone call. Then just try to capture, is there visibility once your request goes in? Can you track the status of it as it proceeds? And this is where the report of concern, it did look like you can see requests that are already in there. But again, I don't know, Jay, if that would work or not, but it looked like you could see active requests if you had something in the flow. And then employee workflow is more to say at the back end of this. So something comes in, is there some level of tooling or automation on the back end that's supporting this? And then any additional comments. And in mine, I just put in per town website, not validated because it wasn't something I'd set down with the DPW yet to say, okay, this is how I think it works. Can you confirm yes or no? So those were the key data points. I don't know if anyone would suggest anything else that we want to put in here.
Maybe it's captured in the additional comments, but this is a great documentation. I think we should all work on like filling it out for the current state. I'd love to somehow track like the target state.
Yeah.
Like what are the things we want to change in this?
Yeah.
Whether it be for that particular use case.
Mhm.
I love the concept of use cases, right? It's basically a business process that department handles.
Yeah.
What's the intake system? Where's the employees work? Like, what do we want to see changed? Or I guess rather than talking about what do we want changed, what do we want the target state to look like?
Yeah.
And then we sort of work back, and so that's sort of once we have in the target state. You think about do we track, just our own vision of the target states? That's a citizen vision, but it really has to have agreement with the department head on the target state.
Yes, and I guess what I just put in here is I put per department head, department, because I think we can collect that through our maybe sourcing, but then we could certainly, whether it's through any feedback we've received, the surveys, etc., right? Say, okay, and from the surveys we've heard a lot of people would like X, but we probably have that information. So if we want to get in this piece what the target state from the department heads are.
Great idea. Which reminds me, I know we're going to get to later on the agenda, but I'd hope to have the survey results analyzed per department and to share, because we do have the graphs, the summary graphs per department already, but we don't have the free text analyzed. And so I was actually planning to put the free text into an AI model to summarize the free text and per department. And then deliver it back to you by this meeting, but I haven't done that. But I think the output of that would basically be potentially direct input to this.
Yeah.
That's really what they're trying to influence, right? Citizens want to see some change in process or some improvement in process or better response time.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, I don't want to do, I'm not necessarily recommending, I'll give this some thought, but I'm wondering if we want to somehow capture like, we'll probably just capture it as part of the target state, something like response time. Like what is the citizen wanting to improve, or what are the challenges with the current system? Like maybe paper-based is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah, no, I think getting that in here, because it's quite possible the department heads would also say, but I hear from people over and over again, X, Y, Z. So they may have a perspective on this.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah,
idea.
and I think we'll find that from the survey that some people are suggesting, some people are just complaining about the current system, which is
Yeah.
effectively a way of communicating, I see a problem. I see a problem. Here's a problem. Here's a problem. And then other people are going to communicate, here's a solution. Here's a solution without necessarily communicating a problem. And we really
Yes.
need both, right? We need
Yeah.
to document the problem and the solution, and they need to tie, we don't chase solutions with our problem. Um, yeah.
Perfect. Well, I can resend this version. And then I did just put a tools tab, but it was more, it becomes a little bit duplicative. I just put in a list of the tools I was tripping across again via the website. But we can let that there because it may be useful to capture. I should put a purpose in here as well. All right. I'll send that out.
Sounds great. Thank you, Orla. And I think this is really sort of accelerating. Like one of the purposes of MPC is to identify the islands of technologies and islands of capabilities that are limited to specific departments and say, hey, maybe we should elevate this to be something multiple departments use and
Yes.
use it going even more extreme between the town and schools. But I know that's even more difficult. But
Yes.
someday. Great. Awesome. Okay. Let me make notes on our meeting minutes. Okay, great. I've started looking into the moving on agenda items, unless there's any other questions or comments on this topic. Okay, on the user journey collection analysis, I've started looking into tools. Don't have that yet. I definitely want to make sure we get that into next year's budget once we find a tool, and Jay and I are synced up on what we want to target there, but I'm not yet ready to propose anything. I'll work with you, Jay, first on it, and then I'll come back. So don't have anything to discuss today. Okay, Wi-Fi revamp. How's the Wi-Fi project going, Jay?
Not too much to report than what we talked about before, but the wiring has started for any of the APs that haven't that we did not have in place. So 3 of the buildings have been completed and trying to finish up the remaining 3 starting tomorrow with the library. So just progress as of right now. Next couple weeks after that, equipment should be coming in and people should start coming in to install the APs and switches that I ordered.
Awesome. Any questions or comments from anyone on that?
Is there going to be downtime, Jay, as we move to the new system?
Hoping not. I
Okay.
never want to say a positive, but the plan is
Yeah.
a seamless switch over of the Wi-Fi. Going to keep the same SSIDs, keep the same public access that we had in place. In the future, I'm planning on tweaking some of those security features going forward, but for right now, I kind of just wanted to make it a seamless turnover. So that's the plan.
Just curious. Thank you.
Yep.
I assume the captive portal will change. Is that right? It'll change over to Meraki. Is that right?
Yeah, and that's what I'm trying to keep it as much as I can the same, but it's obviously going to be Meraki's setup instead.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Jay on that? All right. Outreach to different departments, including department training organization. I think, Angela, you had put together a draft data organization. Is that correct?
Yes. So am I able to share?
I was only able to skim it
Should be
between
good.
meetings, but
Yeah.
it looked pretty good. I mean, I dug the the taxonomy approach too.
Yeah, this is very much a draft, and I just wanted to kind of bring it up tonight so that folks can start to take a look at it. And if you could give me your feedback, and then we can do another iteration, and then try to finalize it over the next few weeks. But basically, the idea is that this document will accompany the training that Jay is doing with groups on OneDrive. So something that could be handed out to the departments and help them think about how they're organizing their data. I'd like to simplify this too. It is a little dense, and I'm trying to think about ways of getting the information across without it feeling like just a bunch of word walls. So
that would have been my only feedback, is just a lot of words that I don't think people are going to get past the first sentence.
Yeah, it's a lot of data for folks. So find a way to simplify this, but also trying to educate people at the same time about what are all the things they should be thinking about. Why is it important? How is it going to help them? And then thinking about what they need to do in terms of starting with an audit, thinking about the sources that they have, thinking about some different parameters around the data, who should have access to it, what's it used for, are there specific compliancy and security checks, and then how they can think about organizing the data all the way through. I don't think they're going to get into any tools or technologies. So again, this might be an area where we could simplify, but thinking about taxonomies. When I had reached out to Jim to talk about, is there anything in place right now? I mean, it did not sound like there was any kind of townwide taxonomy or townwide data structure. So it's probably, at least in the beginning, going to be up to the individual departments, how they organize stuff. But if we could give them some best practices or even a recommendation for how we think they might want to organize their data, then if they did adopt that, if we ever did decide to pull data together in the future to have a view across departments, it might make it a lot easier. So maybe, Jay, that's something that we could talk about. I think it's going to depend on the current state of the data in different departments, and without having those audits done, it's hard to say how close to that or far away from that we are. But any comments or questions?
Is this concept of audit? I think I can see. I like the word wall, because I think a lot of departments will say, "Look, I just have my drive, I have email, I have everything I need. Why do this?" If my question is, do we have time and capacity within MTC members to work out with our respective departments and help shepherd them along this process, effectively help sit down with them and do a high level overview audit, and possibly, so as part of this, do you think we can come up with a simple, process slash form for what we want to see for an audit? Here's a checklist of things we want to walk them through, questions we want to ask, and then based on the result, help them with proposed taxonomy.
I mean, it would certainly, I think, be possible to have an introductory conversation with each of them, and maybe we sit down with them with the document, we walk them through that. Again, I think depending on what the state of their data is and how much they have, it could be more or less work to really dig in and go through helping them organize, but I think we could at least advise and consult on those pieces. And I like the idea of a checklist.
Yeah, or even a checklist or some sort of template, because I'm guessing, right, even if we could get our arms around it, like a big picture, because then you could determine, okay, there's certain areas where it's worth going deeper and maybe getting into the taxonomy level, and for other areas, it's probably just not a priority right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely don't see this being something we can just shoot off to departments and say, do it. I think we need to sit down and schedule an
I
hour and
agree.
say, let's walk through this. I have some questions. And yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Definitely requires some shepherding.
It's hard enough to
Yeah.
get him to use Duo, never mind. Just
Are
being
there any
honest.
are there any meetings that exist, Jay, where all the department heads get together in one meeting? I mean, is there any forum that we could get on the agenda for that would hit all of them at once?
We typically have a department head meeting every 2 to 3 months. It's like it can be I would consider it quarterly, but sometimes it doesn't fall quarterly.
Okay.
We do have that where it's all the managers in one room, and we're all, it's most of the time is we're discussing, like, big budget deals that are going
Right.
on, or we're talking about the town meeting that's coming up, or in this case, the fall town meeting that's coming up. But yeah, that would probably be the one platform that I could say that we're all together.
Do you own the agenda for that one, or is that
I'm
somebody
on,
else?
yeah, I'm there. It's whatever agenda topics are that need to be discussed. And most of the time it's town meeting, or and I'll put it this way, 90% of the time I am a topic there, because I'm constantly reminding people about any type of phishing emails going on, or any kind of cybersecurity information that they need to know about. I always try to pull in
Yeah.
there a little bit anytime I'm in one of those meetings, just to
Who,
remind.
who
Does
calls
Mark
the meeting? Is it
does Mark
Mark?
Purple?
Yes,
Mark Purple. Okay.
yes.
Oh. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'd love your thoughts there, Angela. To get on one of those even get a high level intro. The high level intro is one thing, and I think having a few minutes in those meetings would be great to have a high level intro. But then the real work really needs to be done on a per department
Yeah.
basis.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
But I think even just getting everyone's head around why it's important, why it's worth
Yeah.
investing time, that type of thing.
yeah.
Great.
Thank you. Any other
Thank
comments or
you.
questions for Angela about this? Okay. Great. And I think that, having it in a structured format, like as part of this checklist, et cetera, will that yield, that's, that'll be the next step for training on data usage. Getting the data, getting it organized and understanding where things are, then you train on, well, you figure out where things are, what needs to change. That's obvious that
Yeah.
change needs to change. Like if people are sloshing files around via email, and then you train on it, because I don't think we want to be training on poor practices.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Other outreach to different departments. Any reports from anyone? Outreach over the last several weeks since our last meeting?
No updates here. I was going to ask whether there was any follow-up on the school side that you wanted me to pursue, or if you had already engaged, Matt.
I have not engaged. I definitely had on my meeting notes that I needed to engage. I have not yet engaged. I can blame it on, I was giving them more time for the beginning of the school year, but I can't because I just completely forgot about it. So I'll definitely engage. All right. Any other departments follow up? All right. Let me make a note. All right. Town meeting room tech. Um, Any updates, Jay? Did you want me to reach out to some of those companies, or are you reaching out?
Yeah, no, I've reached out to the two companies that you suggested. I heard back from was it CC or IC? I forgot the name.
Can't remember.
One second, because they're actually, one of them is coming in tomorrow to look at the room.
Oh, nice.
What was the name of the company? One second. CCS was the one that actually got back to me. The black box company, I have not heard anything back from them, and I've reached out to them a couple of times. but they're coming, like I said, CCS, the person I spoke to, Lindsay, um, we had a quick conversation about what we're looking to do. And then they're gonna come in and kind of scope out the room and see what we have there and what, what they can do to improve it. The other thing I was gonna ask is if you had some time, Matt, I think next Wednesday, to kind of have a meeting with with Pro AV. Um, if possible next Wednesday, let me know if it doesn't work. I wanted to kind of go over that quote that they provided me and if see what questions you might have for them pertaining to that quote. And then I'll probably do the same thing with CCS once I get a quote from them to kind of go over it with you and see what, any questions, feedback you might have about the quote as well.
Next Tuesday through Friday, I'm in London,
Oh,
so next
okay.
Wednesday wouldn't be good, but I could certainly do it before then or after then.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
I'll see. It's not in stone, so I can even see if they have something the following week if possible.
would you mind if I joined your meeting tomorrow as the CCS walkthrough?
Um, yeah, you can. They're just gonna come in and kind of take pictures of the room and review the room. That's at 11 a.m. tomorrow.
Okay. Great. Yeah, I'd love to join you. Yeah,
It's in person, so
great. Yep. If you don't mind, I'll join you for that.
okay.
Um, I'm eager to have them hear the blower, the thing that kills audio in that room, is the HVAC system when it comes on. So the
Yeah,
question is, how can you get around that? Um,
yeah.
awesome.
But yeah, that's where we're at.
Thank you for that update. Um, all right. May take some notes on that. All right, we've already talked about AI-based note taking um, and the assessor software that's going to be going to town meeting. Is that correct?
Assessors software.
Sorry, that's the Patriot Systems assessor software, the cloud.
Yeah,
Are we looking for? Do we need? Is there a town meeting article for budget for that, or is it?
yeah. It's gonna be an article for the town meeting.
Okay.
Nothing more than what I talked about the
Yeah.
last time
Yeah.
about this. Nothing new to report. I'm still waiting on some specs on anything additional to what we talked about the first time this came up. If I hear anything more, I'll let you know.
Great. Thanks. So that leads into prep for a fall town meeting. I have not done it yet, but I'm keen to release a survey based on the warrant for the town meeting, as we did for previous town meeting, and just to do a resident sentiment check on the articles. And hopefully that'll help the moderator and various different committees understand what going into the meeting what people's sentiment are. But I haven't done that yet. But the next couple of days, I'll put that together. And I
Matt,
think the
where do
thing
you share that? Is it on the website?
it's on the results. I'll share.
No,
I've
the
been using
actual
the
survey itself for people to
oh
complete.
oh it's gonna be a link. It's a SurveyMonkey link, but I'm gonna link it to espero.org, and I'll hit Jay up to see if we can publicize it on the town website as well.
Okay. Perfect.
And I also work with the DPW, ask them, and I'll carbon copy you, Orla, because you work with the DPW, but they've always been nice and kind and um, putting a link up on their traffic board for going into the transfer station.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So, and then also my Southborough publicizes it as well.
Perfect.
Okay. Let's see here. Any other prep we need to do for a fall town meeting? I don't think there is. There's no other articles. Okay, 5-year strategic tech plan. Any updates, Angela?
I did send out the working version for feedback. So if folks could take a look at the most current version and provide any input that you have. We're just trying to get it finalized in the next few weeks so that we can republish the next version. I redid the executive summary. I cleaned up a number of the sections. I am missing the survey results for 2023 and 2024. So Matt, I need to get with you and just summarize the key outtakes from those two surveys. And then Jay, I wanted to check with you and make sure we were capturing all the accomplishments. It does look like, the way I structured it was, here's what we heard in the 2021 survey, and here's the actions that were taken. And it's actually quite a lot. I mean, when you go back and you look at all the stuff that's been done over the last few years, I mean, everything, it's, obviously we upgraded the town website, but the Wi-Fi, the internet redundancy, moving stuff to the cloud, the security audits, there's quite a number of things that have been done. I'm probably missing, some of them. So I just want to do a sanity check and make sure that we're capturing all the key accomplishments. I also think that helps people understand the value of the survey. And if they fill out the survey and they're giving us the feedback, they're seeing that, not immediate, but, it puts stuff into the queue and it actually, then gets addressed. So I thought that was a nice way of kind of showing that flow. And then I'd be interested in feedback on, we initially, when we did this, had this idea of kind of mapping out these customer journeys. So we did a customer journey for citizens. We did a customer journey for town department folks, but it's kind of futuristic. It's kind of something that's, this would be the ideal future state. Do we want to leave that in there? Do we want to pull it out and, kind of put it in a new section, which is like, down the line, here are potentially some more of the futuristic type things that we might want to focus on. I think just thoughts that anyone has on, structure of the document, but also the individual sections would be helpful. And then I'll take another pass at it once I get feedback, and we can then kind of republish it on the site and regenerate it out to people. The other, I guess, question is, if we did get the feedback and got it turned around in time, we could have some copies at Heritage Day. That's a separate topic. I'll talk to folks about that then, but I guess that would be the other benefit of kind of trying to jump on it and get it done, as we could make it available.
Yeah, I love that if we can do so. My own feedback on the user journeys. I like user journeys as long as it's properly communicated what it is. Like if we can couch this as being a 5-year user journey, because honestly, if this is 5-year strategic tech plan, we should think that the tech plan shouldn't exist by itself. It should be to enable those journeys, user journeys we want to see in 5 years. So if we think that it's something, if it's something like we will all have flying saucers in 5 years, then yes, we should cut it because not yet. But if it's something that we think is realistic for 5 years, a user journey that we want to enable, then yes, we should publicize that, and then we should talk about, well, what are the steps we need to do to get to that 5 years. And also, maybe we should also think about just labeling them and dating them. Like here's a 5-year, here's a 2-year, here's a 1-year. Here's the things we think we can improve 1 year, and then work with respect to departments, like to be able to make those changes necessary to get to those user journeys. And that directly relates to what Orla is talking about here. Like this is the journey of the citizen, and there's also the journey of the employee. Like what are the internal process, external process. Yeah.
I guess that's also, that leads into a question about having a deeper dialogue with the select board, because obviously we can dream up any customer journey that we want, but if they're not willing to fund it, or if we don't have, people aligned around that vision, it's always going to be something that's just, essentially fiction. So I like what you're saying, but I guess I feel like maybe I missed a step of deeper conversation where we should be talking with more of the folks and saying, what is our larger vision for Southborough as far as technology? Are we going to be a cutting edge technology town? Are we going to always want to be, more of a, what do they call it, where you're like not
Follower.
N+1, but yeah, follower in terms of, letting
Laggard.
stuff, the laggard. Yes, that's a better word. And then, what does that mean for the customer journey? Do we, can we be very aggressive with that customer journey, or do we need to be a lot more realistic in what we're laying out because, they just want to move at a slower
Because it's a
pace?
little bit back to what are the guiding principles.
Yeah. No, I think a lot of it depends on who you talk to. Different people have different views. But maybe we could get some alignment and consensus around what's a realistic step.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's good. And going back to the time, and I do like the idea of tying things together, like especially around the surveys. Like the surveys should be that. And again, I need to communicate that out and give you the raw data that you can work on to tie those for each respective department. Here's what citizens are looking for. Here's what they're asking for, the user journeys, them to change. And that should be the driver. That citizens, it's not just us, what we are dreaming up of, what we want. It's what the citizens want. And in my side conversations with a couple members of the select board, that's basically how things are done in town. Like squeaky wheel gets the grease. If we can show data showing that citizens are asking for certain things, and we can show that here's the problem and here's potential technology to solve it, then they will be very supportive, and then we can work with the department head to move things forward. So inclusive of, I mean, the real example was this see-click fix thing, right? If we can show that a lot of citizens are concerned about it and they want to see this, then and here's a potential solution that will help propel things forward. And it's true for justification of budget, right? If we can say the majority of town residents want to improve a certain user journey and it's going to cost this amount, but they're in favor of it, then we can get the budget, no problem. The citizens will pay for it because they're the ones who want it.
Right.
So yeah, that
makes sense.
Okay, well, thank you for your work on that. Yeah, so yeah, if everybody could provide feedback, and I'll submit, of course, that all the documents we've been talking about here, I'll submit as part of our notes tonight as part of the open docs, and I'll submit the current draft that you have. Okay, let's move on to Heritage Day preparation.
Yes. Can I share again? So this is my very, very rudimentary drawing of the St. Mark's Field layout. But I just put it together for anybody who hasn't done a booth at Heritage Day. Usually, and I can't guarantee this is what they're going to do this year, but usually what I've experienced with doing this with Girl Scouts for many years, this is the corner of 85, and when you drive in, you usually drive in here, and then this is where like the Ullman's trucks are, and the fire and police are down here, and there's rows of booths here, 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 and here. And then in the back is where like the Boy Scouts have their ladder and they have the big blow up stuff. And then you can park like over here. So you have to get there quite early. Like generally the parade starts at 10. And I think booth setup starts usually around like 7 or something. So people start showing up at 7, like you park over here. If you're lucky, you get a booth assignment on this side, and then you can just carry stuff from the car here. But that's essentially how it works. And then, I think we talked about doing shifts. so that people didn't have to stay the whole time, and we could have, you know, pairs of people that man the booth that could each stay for a few hours. And then you kind of clean up at the end. I think it ends around 2 or 3 o'clock, and you put everything back in the car. And then essentially when it's over, you can drive out. You know, we usually would bring like a few folding tables, chairs, because you're going to want to have a place that you can sit. If we do have a tent covering, they'll usually do it rain or shine. So if it is not a really nice day, it could be nice to have a tent covering. And then just whatever we want to decorate the booth. So like a tablecloth, you know, maybe a little trash can that's there, all of our handouts. And I want to talk about that in a minute. We should decide if we want to get something to pass out, something to attract people to the booth, like, you know, a little basket of candy or something like that. And then just whatever you want to have with you while you do your shift assignment, water, sunscreen, snacks, money. And so we have a lot of brochures that we've created. We have the strategy brochure. We have the Wi-Fi guide. We have the scam guide. So, I mean, we do have some brochures and stuff, but I was trying to figure out, you know, we could either go and get those all printed again and have copies of them and hand them out. It would involve some money, but it would be easier for people to get and look at. We've done the QR codes in the past, which are, you know, more econo-friendly, but I don't think people really look at those as much as they actually do a paper brochure. And then I was trying to think if there were ways of incorporating technology, like could we bring iPads and do something, but I don't know, like a million people walking by, including kids, and them, you know, taking iPads and playing with them. I mean, that, you know, that could be dangerous and just in terms of breaking the equipment and stuff like that. So just wanted to get people's thoughts and ideas.
So just from my own knowledge, slide number 1 is the St. Mark's Field. Is that right?
That is
Yeah.
the St. Mark's Field, yes, right across from the library. So the library would be over to our left, the way I'm looking at this, the left.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And there, people park on the field itself?
Yes,
Interesting.
Is that just if you're setting up the booths? I've never been there.
that's just if you're doing booths.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Okay.
can't park there unless you're doing
Yeah.
a booth.
Yeah.
Who? Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, Angela, they assign you a booth as opposed to, they do, right? You don't have to.
Yeah,
wait.
so I've registered us for a booth. And so when it gets closer to the time, they will, and usually sometimes it's like right as you're pulling up, like you pull up and you say, you know, hey, I'm Angela Varner, I'm here for the Municipal Technology Committee. And they have a outline. It kind of depends on how many people have signed up for booths, and that, you know, it influences their layout, but they'll basically give you a number at that time and then show you kind of where in the schema of things you set up.
We say who's the group that organizes Heritage Day?
The rec department,
Okay.
recreation.
Yeah, when you were talking about the printouts, I had a wild idea, but it would only work if you could be close enough to the parking and have like a nice DC inverter. Just have a printer in a car and just do some print on demand. But
That's incorporating tech, is it as well?
yeah,
I don't
but
know.
I don't know if that'd be feasible.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have your own generator if you're doing anything that's power based. I think you have to have like your own generator and your own ability to be kind of self-maintaining, because they don't offer any kind of like electrical service or anything.
Yeah.
So I might reach out to the rec department. I know though I was considering if I'm going to be there. So I have a DJ business on the side, and
Oh,
I
did
do
not know that.
a bunch of things in town. I do things for a lot of the schools, etc. So I was thinking about doing a booth for the DJ business, and I have a generator, and I can run the sound system off it and so forth. So basically supplying music for Rec
Yep.
Day. I think they've done that in the past for other heritage days. Um,
So could we be neighbors?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be neighbors, so I can just keep it, just run off the same generator. If you want to bring a printer, we can. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't see, I mean, as long as they knew in advance, they could definitely probably put us closer together. I signed us up as a nonprofit
Yeah.
since we're a
Yeah.
committee. You'd probably
Yeah.
have to sign up as a for-profit
Yep.
business.
And pay the amount. Yeah.
Right,
Exactly.
right.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
is, I don't know, it's not that much. It's like $25 more or something, but yeah, I don't have a printer that I can bring. I don't know if anybody else has a printer.
I don't have a reliable one. But I guess also like, because I think if I'm out and I pick it up, I bring it home and it goes straight in the trash anyway, probably.
That's the
Maybe
other
that's just
downside.
me. Because I guess it's back to like what we'd like to get out of this in terms of like the passing traffic. Is there specific feedback we want to get? Is there ideas? Because that may then determine. Like I think if we already
Yeah.
have printed stuff, then no harm in having it there.
I
But
mean, the other thing that we could do is take a couple copies and laminate them
Mhm.
and have some reference copies there, and then like either have a QR code that people can scan if they
Yes.
look at it and they like it. And then
I
we,
think
you
that's a
know,
good idea.
give them the QR code. That saves us from killing all the
Yeah.
trees. But then, you know, we can make sure that they get it if they want it, or we could take, you know, email addresses or something and
Yeah.
mail
And
it
I
to them
hope
if they
if
wanted
you're
their own
interested
copy.
enough in reading or learning more about technology,
Yeah.
that you'll be willing to do it on a device and
Yeah,
therefore.
we could also have a sign up sheet, like if anybody's interested in getting more involved or
Yeah.
wants to volunteer for something, we could have some kind of sign up sheet where they could participate. So we could put something like that together.
Do we
I love that.
want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
No, I was going to say, do we want to have like a QR code that allows, like, if I don't know, if we're trying to get feedback on, like, what else would you like to be able to do online with the town, for example, then do we have a simple QR code where it just opens a box and you type it in and they submit it versus us having to write everything down? Or do you think that they just won't do that and it's better to just get them when they're on the spot and take it ourselves?
I think most valuable thing we can do is collect their contact information, so that for this and for subsequent
That's a good idea.
surveys, etc.
Yes.
Because I'm maintaining a list of everybody who has done surveys, who's interested in participating in future surveys,
That's a
etc.
good-
I'd
yeah.
love to add those. And at the same time,
That could just be a
basically-
phone or a tablet and just have a
Exactly.
little Google form or whatever.
Yeah.
exactly. So we'll get their contact information. We'll get a link if they want us to follow up and give them information on a select number of topics. And then
Mhm.
also, if they're willing to volunteer. And I think we previously
Yep.
talked about this, and I've discussed with Sam Stivers, who's not able to join us tonight, but he recommended that we should use it as an opportunity to solicit volunteers for a number of different skill sets and to basically help augment and help out the committee. And so I actually put together let me share my screen here, a list of potential skill sets we might solicit for volunteers.
I'll be right back.
Sure. So, data visualization and analysis, any sort of data visualization and analysis is a good thing. We have lots of, there's only so much so far you can get with out of the box survey monkey analysis, but I'm not a data scientist, and the previous volunteer data scientists that we've had are no longer available. So finding additional people who can help us analyze data and visualize it. User experience. This is, an analysis of the user journeys and doing formal analysis of the user journeys. Once again, we had one person who did some great interviews, but that was more of a one-time thing. I'd love to find somebody in town who's willing to spend more time with us on that. GIS system, seems like that's area beast of itself. What,
Mhm.
analyzing what are the capabilities of the different GI systems within town, cybersecurity. I mean, I know we have some good coverage there, but it doesn't hurt to have additional
Can you
eyes on the
send this to
challenge.
me, Matt, so that
Sure.
I have a copy
Yeah.
of it? Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll do. I'll
I'll
send it
just
to
send it
all.
to the list. Yeah.
I'll send it to the list. Digital marketing, social media. We shouldn't be the ones that are. I think we have plenty of other groups in town. There's social media, handling social media, but I think engaging social media more is a
Mhm.
good thing. Um, IT and streaming support. I mean, I know we've volunteered and we're going to be planning to do that, but having some
It'd be great
assistance
to
with
have
some of
extra
those,
help there.
yeah. Mobile app development. I know we don't want to start developing apps as a town, but I was thinking, I think there was a suggestion for the tricentennial that's coming up. Maybe we should have a app.
Tricentennial AR.
Yeah.
See what the town was like 300 years ago.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Because it just feels be a
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
easy app.
Tree there, tree there,
Yeah,
tree
yeah.
And
there.
cows.
Cows. Business process technology consultants. There's the ongoing like business processes and what technologies are being used. Artificial intelligence, machine learning.
Mhm.
That's going to be a growing area that we should leverage as a town. But quite candidly, the companies are most effectively able to harness AI and ML are the ones who have already done a digital transformation, and Southborough really hasn't yet done a digital transformation in terms of truly becoming data driven. So I don't want to put the cart. You can't really do AI ML when you're not really digital yet. No, there are certain things that certainly AI helps with in terms of OCR but anyway,
Or even just if the benefits of applying AI can drag, I guess, right? Some of the
that's
um
true.
like
Yeah,
it can force or create an impetus to get some of the data done or
yeah, very true, very true. Like the benefits,
yeah.
yeah,
Well, in
yeah,
your next bullet point, accessibility, there's definitely some assistive technologies where some models have helped.
yeah. Open data initiatives, um, and then survey, help design, etc.
That's
These are just some ideas.
that's a
Looking
good
further
list.
forward.
I guess, Matt, so if someone then is interested and says, yep, I'm good at cybersecurity or social media, and they're willing to volunteer their time, how then can they engage or how can we engage them just based on how this forum works and whatever laws are around it?
Great question. So they would be considered um, a consultant. I think that's the right term. We have a form. Effectively, they turn into an extension of our committee and are still
Mhm.
governed by open meeting laws. So they would attend our meetings that would be. Um, they don't have to attend all the meetings. They're certainly not a voting member, but
Mhm.
they would attend the meetings that have relevant topics to their area, and they can provide input, guidance. But effectively, there's extension of our committee for particular areas. So if somebody's willing to donate their time, then um, uh, think basically we need to think about for each of the technology, for each of the departments, and then overall, how do they engage? I think that's a great question, Orla. I think maybe for
Yeah.
each one of these, we should define what are the touch points, what are the engagement points, like which are the relevant departments that they can influence, or overall, how can they influence?
Yeah, because they may say, well, what's the time commitment? Which I'm guessing the answer is whatever you can contribute. Um, or right, for some of these activities, I would think, right, it's somewhat cyclical or like survey design. Great, we need you and we need to get a survey out, but then for the rest of the year, there's nothing to do. So um, it probably depends.
Yes. Um, a, um, called survey sign placed for people interested in future surveys and or hearing their expertise not to share volunteers set talk and propose engage.
And maybe, Matt, to keep it easy, we could have one sheet for anyone who's just interested in being kept informed, and then the other is for volunteers. And then, because we're going to assume if you're volunteering, we're going to be able to keep you informed.
Yeah. Yep. True. Yep. Reach skill set. Okay. In, lists then. Basically proposing separate signed lists.
One thing, Andrew, I'm just thinking on the equipment list we might need, do we need some sort of posters or some sign that we can put up to say who we are?
Yeah, generally the decorations for the booth, whether that's like a tablecloth, a sign out front, all of
Yeah.
those things will, they need to know like what group you're representing. So that will be
Okay.
important.
So I guess we could just go to Staples and get a poster printed, right? I don't know. Do we have anything like a big poster board that says MTC or anything? No. Okay.
Nothing. I mean, we can make something.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
that's,
We have budget,
It's-
so it'd be good to, and I think we're probably doing
Okay.
this in the future. So
Okay.
let's
we can get something made that we could put on the table.
Yeah, I'm happy to take that one. I can
Okay.
post
Thank
them.
you.
Let's see.
I also, if we want to go through the list and decide who's bringing what, I definitely have folding tables.
Great. Does anyone have a tent cover?
I do not. I have one from camping, but it's not exactly
Yeah.
conducive to this type of thing.
I
So
have
Orla
a
tables.
I think I have, one of my friends has one though, that I could ask her if I could borrow it. If no one else has one, I can.
That's the one thing I don't have. I have tables, I have pretty much everything else, but I don't have one of those tent
The
covers.
pop-ups, right? It's just the pop-up.
Yes.
Yeah. Let me see if I can source one.
Okay.
Okay. All right. What are the other things that we want to that need to be divvied up for this? I'll just plan on generator either way. If I don't bring, but do
So
we need a
talked about
generator?
tables. If everybody could bring their own chair,
Yeah.
then I think we're good with that. Tent
I gotta-
covering, Orla said you were going to
I'm
try to
gonna
source
look for
that.
Yeah.
I can bring a
Um,
couple of camp chairs that could just stay the whole time because I don't really need them.
Okay, perfect. And then anything that like whoever's the last one there, if they can just put everything in their car, then we can always, get it out later. I can bring the tablecloth, trash. I'll do the handouts. Does somebody want to bring candy or something to pass out?
I'll bring it.
Matt, your candy? Okay.
Yeah, I'm candy. Yep.
Joe, you were chairs.
I'll do the sign and the canopy. I'm just thinking we
Okay.
used to do Girl Scouts and they're not doing it and they had a canopy. So find that.
Okay.
It's starting to sound like a party I'm not invited to.
You're invited.
Yes. Handouts, tablecloth. Okay. I mean,
I
it's,
have confirmation we have a canopy.
yay.
Cool.
That was fast.
There we go.
Awesome. Awesome sauce. Jay, are you going to come to Heritage Day? Do you want
I'm
to
not
come
even
and-
sure when it is. I wasn't even sure when it was.
Monday,
is-
October 14th.
Yep, October
October
14th. Yep.
Yeah, and I can volunteer to do sometime in the morning. I just can't in the afternoon.
Okay, so Joe, your morning. I'll put together the shift assignments and circulate them. And we can have like, 2, 2, and 2 or something like that. I'll find out if Yash is going to come.
Okay.
It's on a
Anything
Monday?
else?
It's a Monday.
Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Jason, let me know and I'll put you on a shift assignment if you're able to come in.
Now it sounded like work. I said party.
Party
The
work.
fun
party
thing is
work.
when you're done with your shift, you get to walk around Heritage Day.
That sounds fun.
Okay. Anything else that we need to coordinate for Heritage Day? Okay. Anything else I missed on the agenda? Any other action items? I don't think so. Or matters properly before committee? I don't think so. Next meeting schedule. Let's pull up our calendars if we could for a October meeting. What do people's calendars look for, say, Tuesday the 15th?
That'll be the day after Heritage Day.
Yep.
Could be a useful debrief.
Yeah.
I think I can make that work.
Yeah, currently not terrible.
Um, I'm hosting the field hockey freshman, I guess, pasta party, but they should be done by 6:30.
Jay, does that work for you?
So far it looks good.
Angela?
Yes.
Okay. Let's tentatively say Tuesday the 15th at 6:30 p.m. And if for some reason we need to change it, it's fine. All right. I move that we adjourn.
Seconded.
Okay. Let's go around the room. Okay. Angela,
Hi.
Joe,
Aye.
and I. Thank you, everyone. Hope you have
All
a
right.
great day and rest of the month.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Come
Good
soon,
rest of your night.
buddy.
Bye.